Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is one of the last projects I just recently did. So our prompt was we had to take one of our overlaid figures that we did in Project 1A and turn it into a 3D model. So we were working in Rhino. So I suggest if you're offered working in Rhino to start it now because I wasn't really doing it back in Wasat and I was like thrown into it. So I had to learn everything and do the project at the same time, which was kind of difficult but manageable. So this is one of my polygons that I had, and we had to do overline line work. We had to do section views, plan, and elevation. I have to revisit this project, but this is what I have so far. I had to present in my architecture class yesterday what I did so far. So I had to make 3 different iterations using the Boolean operations. So Boolean difference, Boolean intersection, Boolean split, extruding to create my polygon and make it into 3 different iterations. So we had to do this section views, plans, again, elevation, and this is what I came up with so far. This is one of the projects. So what I'm showing right now is the 3 different iterations. That's one of the projects. I have another one. This is the build off of the project I just showed you. This is the line work. So I did the extruding command to make it something totally different from what you just saw. So this is my figure. We had to practice like hatching, doing line works, messing with stroke panels, all in Adobe Illustrator. So I had to take my file from Rhino and transfer it to Illustrator and manipulate it that way. So you see now some hatch line work, some overlay line work, and this is the resulting figure of after the series of manipulations I had to do. So this is just one of them. I had 3 different iterations once again. So this is beginning with the line work, as you see on the left side. This is the hatch line work to show the different variations of the strokes I played with. And this is what it ended up turning out like. And this is the last one I did. Again, you see the overlaid line work, the hatch work, and this is my resulting figure. We were working with patterns, line weights, strokes, hatching. This is all in Rhino and Illustrator. These are 2 projects that I've had. And this was a project I worked on last semester. Hold on, let me present it. How do you show? Okay, so this is my pepper project. So we started off with our original pepper. We had to buy a pepper, like how you buy a pepper from a regular store, and we had to cut it in half to show this section view of it. This is what it looks like when you cut a pepper in half. So we have to take that pepper and we had to do a chipboard model out of, I forgot what type of chipboard it was made out of, this exact size, but I had to recreate a pepper out of a chipboard. It didn't come out so well, but this is what I have. And then after we did that, we had to make it into an abstract model. So we had to take one specific feature from the pepper that we noticed, like it could be the skin, the smell, or just the stem of the pepper. So I chose the smell. So I took the smell as my focus, and I showed how the pepper smelled bad. So this is just like paper mache glued with garlic and a whole bunch of other stuff to show how bad a pepper smells, but you can't tell it. So I'm just showing what it smells like. If you like understand what I'm saying. So then I had to take my horizontal and vertical cuts and put it in Rhino, and I had to recreate it in Illustrator, showing the stippling with the different hatches, and recreated the pepper that I had in hand into Rhino and Illustrator. So we first started off in Rhino, working in 2D, and then I moved it from Rhino and put it in Illustrator, and once again worked on line work, stippling, hatching, and just enhancing it to make it more lifelike. So then we had to draw the pepper. So I did it in software, so I had to redraw it using charcoal, and then the architecture pencils that we used. So these are some progression pictures of what it came out looking like. Um, that's one project I did last semester, and I have one more to show you. Oh, just remember. This was my pavilion. So we had to create a pavilion in Rhino, but we first had to start off with ideas. So we had to create a space that you can have somebody like your best friend or anybody to be with, and you had to make a pavilion in Rhino. So I created a poetry pavilion, and this was my creative process. So I wanted my pavilion to be with my best friend, who is actually my cousin, and I wanted this space to be calm, tranquil, peaceful girl time, so we could just be together. And I chose a poetry pavilion because I like to read poetry, and I just wanted something soft, subtle. Yeah, this is the creative process behind it. And we had to use different inspirations. So some skin inspiration I took was from a cheetah. I wanted to be translucent, so I chose like a jellyfish so you could like see right through it. So I was just thinking of different skin inspirations. So this is me and my cousin. So I had to really show it so everybody can get the feel in class. So these are some inspiration pictures I drew for what I wanted my poetry pavilion to look like at the end. This is another inspiration that I've had. These are some plans, what I wanted to incorporate in my pavilion, which was a bookshelf because I wanted to be about poetry. So it was just bookshelves and a sitting area. That's all of the pavilion was going to show. So this is just some plans of what it came out to look like. And I actually had to recreate it um, using chipboard and other different, I can't even tell you the different stuff I used to recreate it in real life. So this is some views of what it looks like at dark. This is what it ended up looking like. Some side profiles, what it looked like from the top, the bottom, the staircase, just a bunch of different features put together. Some more images. And this is what it came to look like in Rhino. Um, Once again, some more Rhino images. And yeah, that was actually Illustrator. But yeah, that's about it.
Hi, Chandler. So, do you want to talk briefly about your Wasat experience and what you was involved in to help you prep up for college?
Sure. Um, so about junior year, I started to, if you've seen me more, because I remember some of you guys' faces, I would walk around Wasat. I did the announcements. I did Teen Entrepreneurship Club. I did Architecture Club. I did yearbook. I worked on the Bushwick Hotel, smallpox, anything you can think of. So I started to do that junior year because I know colleges look at your college application to see what you've been doing junior year because that's the most important year. So I would say just get involved, do as much as possible. It looks really good on a resume, especially if you wanted to go to architecture school. I applied to like 9 different colleges, like 12, and I got accepted to about 8 of them. So Wasad has made like a great impact on me to put a lot of stuff on my resume, application, and I really wanted to go to Temple because I wanted to continue my architecture path. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just get involved and please learn Rhino now. If you can do it now. Don't be like me and just get thrown into it. And Illustrator, so you won't have to learn how to do all the tools and stuff for it and the project. So when you're assigned something, you could just go straight away and know what you're doing.
Thank you for answering. Does anyone have any questions for Chandler? Gilbert asked a question. Are you able to speak?
Yeah, I can speak. Hi, Chandler. So my question was, how often are physical projects present in your classes, and how in depth can they be?
They could be very in depth. Like last semester, I did more hands on project, where it's like the pepper project I just showed you guys in the pavilion. Last semester was more hands on. We had like 4 different projects, but those are my 2 favorite ones that I just presented. And it could get really intense. You have to buy, especially if you're an architecture major, you have to buy so many different types of chipboards, so many types of different tools. I paid like 100 and change for a box of like architecture tools, the architecture scale, the T square, the workspace, everything. So it can get pretty intense. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sabi, Currency had a question.
Hi, what are the different like programs that you like 3D programs that you use in like the architecture program?
So we're just starting since I'm a freshman. This is my second semester. We're mainly using Adobe Illustrator. We're using Rhino a lot. We don't use AutoCAD at all. So it's mostly Rhino, Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to be learning InDesign. I don't know if you heard about that. What else are we using? Mostly Adobe Illustrator and Rhino for the most part. Yeah.
Right.
I have a question. So how has your experience been like away from home? Because especially during COVID, because I've been thinking about like possibly dorming. So how has your experience been?
Oh, okay. I could go on for days with that. So I wanted to go away. I knew since I've been in Wasat, I wanted to go away to college to have that experience. Since I'm like, my parents were the first to go away. I mean, they went to Baruch, which was right there in Manhattan, I think it was. So I knew I wanted to take it further and go away because I want that dormant experience. And it was tough because that COVID hit us. But I was able to go away. I'm currently in, because of COVID, I'm in an apartment style. So I share an apartment, but the common space, I have my own room and my own bathroom. I would say do it because the social aspect, you'll be surprised how many people will think like me because there's a lot of people on campus. Campus is still fully functioning and running. Everything's open, library, architecture studios. We have some in-person classes. I would say definitely go away. Just stay safe about it. Like I have friends now, but when I hang out with them, we 6 feet distance, we wear masks, and we get tested twice a week. I was just actually coming back from getting my COVID test. And if you get sick, God forbid, if you get sick, you go to the quarantine dorms, you stay for about a week and a half until you test negative, and then you come back and then you continue your education. But I would say do it. It's an experience of a lifetime. If you can go away, definitely go away. You get to see different types of people. Like, I don't want to be like, racist, but like me being African American, being from Brooklyn, I've met a lot of other kids who's from Baltimore, Philadelphia, Maryland. You get to meet all different types of people. Temple is very diverse, so it's a mix of like everybody. So I would say go out and do it.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, one of our senior, Myron Gomez, she also has some questions. I'm wondering if Myron can speak right now.
Yeah, I can speak. My question was I guess you kind of already answered it, but what was the most a biggest challenge you faced while moving all the way to Temple?
Oh, one of the biggest challenge was I'm a sheltered kid, so I was sheltered from pretty much like everything. So it was really hard. I remember the date. It was August 19th when I moved in last semester, and I moved here. It was a different experience. So I came from Brooklyn, and my parents just told me just continue the same things you did in high school. Have fun. Of course, do your schoolwork. We're not sending you on a $20,000 vacation. So it was challenging, the transition, but you get used to it, especially now living on my own. Safely, like I said, but just go out and just do it. So.
Yeah. Another question is by Maya Ortiz. I wonder if she can speak right now.
I wanted to ask because Temple was at first my first choice too, but my mother heard like not so much bad things about like the campus, but like surrounding wise, and I kept telling her like I don't have to leave campus because Temple has everything. But like you're the first person I know that actually lives on campus, so I was just wondering like safety wise and like all that stuff.
That's a good question. Yes, I live off campus. It's on campus housing, but it's like kind of off campus. It's like 2 blocks away. But Philly is pretty rough. It's worse than Brooklyn. But we have the Temple campus police always walking around. They're on bikes. We have this different thing. I don't know what it's called, but they have like different stops where you're able to like hit the 911 button. Of course, on an iPhone, I actually carry like, pepper spray. But it is a little rough. I would just say like how you act in Brooklyn, just take that over if you come here. Just be aware of all your surroundings at all times. Be street smart. Always think 10 steps ahead. And if you do like me, just go get food, hang out with your friends, and come back, and you stay out of trouble, you should be fine. But we have police all the time on campus. If you feel unsafe, we have escort. So you literally have a temple escort, somebody who like security who walks you from any place you want to go. Say if I wanted to walk from my house and I wanted to go on campus and it was late, I can call them. They can walk me to campus, walk me back, walk me anywhere I want to go. So safety is not really an issue, but definitely be aware because it's different. It's different. Yeah.
Haley Paulino actually had a good question regarding the architecture classes.
Yeah, so I said, was college architecture more challenging versus high school architecture?
Yes, it's totally different. That's what I'm saying right now. Since I heard Mr. Rodriguez was like, if you want to come Saturdays to download Rhino on your computer, I suggest everybody to do it because I was like procrastinated because I was okay at AutoCAD. I was decent, but then college is strictly Rhino. There's no AutoCAD, so you have to. At least my professors, they didn't want us coming in knowing Rhino, but it would have been good. But they teach us all like we haven't learned any Rhino from before. I wouldn't say just wait on that. I would say just practice it now while you have the time. Rhino and Illustrator. It's definitely more challenging. Like, the projects we did with Miss Moose or even with Codio, it's like that, but a step further, more in depth, like actual elevations, plans, and creating something from scratch that you can call your own. That's the end result. But yes, it's more challenging. So.
All right. Thank you for answering. Saba also had a question about your experience about like art and architecture. Yeah. The question is, can you talk about your experience while studying at Tyler School of Art and Architecture?
So my classes for my architecture is all virtual right now because of COVID. But the 2 weeks I was in person, it was a studio class. So studio class ranges for like 2 hours, and you're just basically our professor would introduce a project, and we had like days of 2 hour classes to work on it. I have architecture twice a week. It's either will be twice a week or 3 times a week, but they're studio classes, so it's like 2 hours long each session. And the professors here at Temple, they all like worked in the field of architecture, especially my professor who I had last semester. He was an actual architect. So it was good to have his insight to help us with the projects as well as his guidance. So yeah, they're very hands-on. Everything is very artsy here. So yeah.
All right. Another question is about like how has COVID impacted you and like learning overall?
COVID has I keep trying to say to myself, it hit hard when it first happened because I didn't get to finish my senior year with my senior class cohort last year. It just ended abruptly. March 13th was the last day we were in person, and we didn't get our senior trip. We didn't get our senior prom. We didn't have a graduation, and I didn't even get to say goodbye to my friends because I didn't see them no more, and I haven't seen them to this day still. And it was kind of hard to just move on without getting the proper closure with my senior cohort. We spent 4 years together, and everything was going really smoothly last year. But I'm trying to look at it like everything happens for a reason to get on day by day with my life. But I don't take anything for granted. I think everything is meant to happen in the cards we're dealt with. So you just have to take that and run with it and just go along. I'm trying my best. It was hard. One of the challenges I faced was being very antisocial. since a lot of people had left when it first started to come, the COVID, once it came back. But now more kids are on campus this semester, so I'm meeting new people like every day. My RA is very inclusive, so we'll have things in the lounge where people just meet up safely, of course. Me and my roommate actually get along really well, and we hang out, we introduce our friends to each other. So I'm getting that social aspect out of it as much as possible safely, as well as a good education with the Tyler School of Art and Architecture. So yeah, I'll meet up with, like, say if I needed to meet up with my professor, he'd be like, okay, if you want to meet in person, we could go to the architecture studio and work on, because we have a laser cutter, a laser printer. So say if I wanted to take one of my projects, I can print that out, just send them a quick email. So it's working, just safely, of course, social distancing, but it's working. I think hopefully over time, next semester that's coming up in fall, things will be a lot better since we have the COVID vaccines rolling out. So I'll have more in-person classes, meet more new people, and yeah.
And that's nice. My question is, like, I heard that you're minoring in horticulture.
I'm thinking. So we have until sophomore year to declare what you want to major in, because the Tyler School of Art and Architecture has so many different fields of architecture you can go into. Like there's historical preservation, landscape architecture, landscape design, so many more. So I'm thinking about majoring in landscape architecture. We'll see. And I'm thinking about minoring in horticulture, because say if a client wants to build a house and she comes to me, I could tell her about all these different types of plants that you can incorporate in your house, like, chamomile plants. And I just want to learn about the study of plants. So I'm thinking about minoring in horticulture and majoring in landscape architecture. But right now I'm being pre-exposed to everything. And then sophomore year, I'll declare which specific field I want to pursue for the next 3 years.
All right, thank you.
I actually have a few questions for you myself.
Yes.
So the first one is, what about the architecture program at Temple really made you decide to want to attend that school?
Well, I applied to 8 different architecture schools. DePaul University in Chicago, Ithaca College had a good art program, but I don't know. Temple just hit really different for me because I have an aunt who lives in Camden, New Jersey, which is 30 minutes. So if I needed something, I could just always call her, and she comes to my campus all the time to come see me and pick me up and take me like to Walmart or something. So that was one of the aspects. And I have a lot of family, like all the schools I listed that I got accepted to, everybody was just like Temple, Philly. So that was another aspect. And Temple is very diverse. So it's all types of people from all different types of walks of life, like Black, Spanish, white, Muslim, everybody. So that's another reason. And then the architecture school, I was seeing some projects because I came to do a campus tour. That's one thing you should also do for not just this college, but for any college you go to, do a campus tour, show up, walk around. They're still doing it now. I just passed by when I came back to get food. They're still doing on-campus tours. Just do it so you can see and feel the atmosphere. So when I came here, I just had that feeling like, okay, this is going to be home for the next 4 years. And then the architecture school was a plus. Like I'm learning all this different stuff, and I actually have professors who are architects, which makes it even better. And they have partnerships with Gensler, where I worked at, with ACE, that I used to do on Wednesdays for the last 4 years during Wasat. So everything just like connected. So that's why I picked Tyler School of Art and Architecture.
Oh, okay, thank you. I was just wondering. Another question I have is, do you have any advice for us on what to do for the summertime? Because I feel like after you graduate high school, summer comes and it's kind of like that gray area, at least for me personally, where I feel like you want to just let loose and have fun before you step into college and you enter adult life fully, or you also feel like maybe we should be doing things to prepare. So I don't know, like, do you have any advice on that?
Yes, I definitely do. Set goals for yourself. That's what I did. When the whole COVID thing happened, it made me just sit back. Well, I had no other choice but to sit down and reflect and be, quarantined. So I just thought about like next steps I wanted to do in my life. And I know I got accepted here and I was getting ready to leave in August. So from March to August, I had all this time So I just thought about different goals. So I said like to get my driver's license, of course, have fun. But I just thought about what are the things that I have to prep for college. And for you guys, I would suggest to learn if you want to do architecture, I would suggest to learn all the computer programs you can. Like download Rhino, download Adobe Illustrator, download InDesign, do the whole Adobe Creative Cloud. Just do it and just practice all of the architecture softwares. Just please do that so you won't just be thrown into it, and learn that and do a project at the same time, because that was difficult. So definitely set goals for yourself, but of course have fun safely because it's still gonna be in COVID. But set goals and have fun at the same time. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Any more
I-
questions?
Yeah, I think that's it for questions. Savi also has a question right now.
Hi. Just wanted to know, do you also do floor plans with Rhino? Because I know mostly it's like 3D.
Rhino is 2D. I actually learned the 3D part of it this past project, which about 2 weeks ago. I didn't know Rhino had a 3D portion to it until I had to do my overlaid figures and extrude them in 3D. But yes, you can do floor plans in Rhino.
Okay, thank you.
We mostly work in 2D in Rhino, but we're starting to do 3D.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about
That's
the 2D. I usually did 3D.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Chandler, I really appreciate you emphasizing this because, as we're working on some of these, work-based learning projects, eventually they're going to have to use some of these softwares. There's no way out of it, especially if we have to come up with a design proposal, and some of them are doing like waterfront design. So there will be some landscape happening as well in these projects. So maybe this is a good opportunity to maybe collaborate with some of our students if you do have the time and, maybe consult with them or advise them on some of the things or learn together, because we do have a lot of landscape projects with our industry partners this year.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, on Fridays, weekends I'm free preferably because Monday through Thursday I have like classes. And yes, I'm definitely emphasizing it because it happened to me. There's no way around it. I was very procrastinating not to do Rhino, not to learn Revit, not to learn Illustrator. And then when I came here, I was just thrown into it and I had to learn it and do the projects at the same time with the same amount of time allotted. So I had to learn and do the project. So that was difficult. So I'm emphasizing, please, if you can, download Rhino, download Illustrator, and just, you don't have to do anything, but just play around and learn different commands and just learn how to navigate through the systems, please.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, even for me, like when I was in college, I learned AutoCAD, Rhino, all of that stuff in my second year of college.
Yeah.
So, the students have the opportunity to be ahead of the game early on as soon as possible.
Please do
Yep.
it. Emphasize.
Dimitri has a question for you.
Sure.
Wonder if Dimitri can talk right now.
Oh, my fault. That's my fault. So my question was, is there anything you've learned in your 4 years at Wasat that you apply now in college?
Most definitely. I was the same way since freshman year. I was always on top of like my schoolwork, my studies. So I just took that from high school and took it to college. Cause now, in high school, I don't know if you're exposed to the same thing, but like example, like I had so much homework to do last weekend. And then I got invited to hang out with my friends for a little like Super Bowl thing. Of course, socially distanced and mask is on, but I didn't get a chance to do my work that was due on Monday. So I would say balance and make sure you prioritize. If you have work, you can say no and be like, oh, okay, I'll hang out with you another time and do your work. So I would just say prioritizing is one of the big issues I would stress and emphasize. If you know you have to do work and you want to hang out, I know you want to hang out, but do work and then you could always hang out after. So one thing Wasat taught me was always to prioritize and stay involved. So that's 2 things that I took from high school to now.
Nice. Next we have Enrique. Okay. Yeah, I think you should be able to talk.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll just read it for him then. His question is basically about like, do you ever feel like overwhelmed with college?
Last semester, I was, because, it was my first time being in college, fresh out of high school, fresh out of Wasat, and being thrown into college. So I had to learn how to create my schedule, make sure because we use Canvas. So I had to learn Canvas. I had to learn Canvas, learn how to submit my assignments through Canvas, and I had to do papers on top of that. And I struggle with math. I don't like math, so I had to do college algebra, which I'm in now. Um, so yeah, that was one of the challenges. You'll get used to it because now I'm used to it. Now I know, okay, I have my classes at this time. I'm able to do homework at this time. I'm able to hang out with my friends this time. So, and I was able to end up still managing a 3.114 GPA last semester. So you're able to do it. You just got to put in the time, the effort. It is challenging, but you'll get through it. And now I feel like I'm a pro. I'm used to it now, So
That's good to hear. Next up we have Janet.
Hi, my question is which program do you think was easier to learn?
Hi, Janet, and Rhino for sure, because it reminds me so much of AutoCAD. Illustrator is where we have that hate and love relationship. I don't like Illustrator because I have to take what I have to learn, what I did in Rhino, turn it into a AI file, Illustrator file, and open it in Illustrator and then manipulate it in Illustrator. I don't like Illustrator. Rhino is much easier to learn. It's like AutoCAD, just a little bit different, same commands. If you know AutoCAD, you'll be fine in Rhino. Illustrator is where you run into the problems. Well, maybe not, but for me, it was Illustrator, and Rhino is much easier to learn.
Anyone else has questions? Yeah, I think that's it for the questions.
Cool.
Do you have like any questions for us or for like any of the teachers?
Oh, sure. How is Facade now since you're all virtual? Anybody care to share? Because it ended abruptly for me, so I don't know anything.
Well, to be completely honest, it still feels somewhat of the same, just minus all the usual in-person contacts. And for a lot of the people who are used to using the digital technology such as AutoCAD, Rhinoceros, Maya, and all that stuff, for some people who don't exactly have computers that can run it, it's been rather quiet, albeit boring in some cases, without being able to use some of these things. You really start to understand how you've taken it for granted, how things like this have been taken for granted when you can't use them like you used to anymore.
Yeah, most definitely. Because I remember Wasada was so active. I remember after I did the announcements, I would go to Codio's class, and I didn't even have his class, and just seeing people and being that interaction, is we definitely take that for granted. But it will come back soon, hopefully. Kessler, how are you?
Oh, I'm well. It's nice seeing you, Chandler.
Guys.
It's nice seeing you guys. I've been speaking with, we had Antonio and Ariana in last week, and I worked with Jonah a little bit last month. We've gotten used to this. This is not ideal. We'll go back soon. I got vaxxed twice, so I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting back and grinding in person. We've been very busy though, so Just stay positive, right? And it sounds like you're on the positive tip as well. So just you really survived that first semester, and that's what it is. The transition from high school to college can be
brutal.
Yeah, brutal is the word. So congrats on that, and thanks for coming here, and just being. I messaged Codio and Rodriguez about how articulate you are and how confident you are in speaking. So, but you've always been that way. So it's wonderful to see you, and please, when we do actually open up and people can come back. Come visit, please.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll have one of our conversations around Codio's table. All right. So just.
Yeah, I remember that too. I don't really go home too often because my mom was like, I'm tired of paying those tolls coming back and forth to see you in Philly. So they'll just like send me stuff. I FaceTime them every day to see what I'm actually doing. So yeah, it's been difficult, but.
But you said you have an aunt there?
Yes, she actually comes. She came 2 weeks. That day we had the snowstorm. Was it a week and a half ago?
Mm-hmm.
She came to pick me up when the snow was starting, and she took me to Walmart to get stuff for my place. So I see family, So, but I'm trying to get my vaccine like you. I really want to get vaccinated. That's just the whole point. Because I like hanging out with my friends, but it's just like the COVID test just tells you if you have COVID or not. It doesn't protect you from actually getting it. So I really want the vaccine. And my mom told me February 15th, they're making it available for kids between 16 and older with asthma. And I have asthma, so I thought she would come pick me up and get me vaccinated. But she said that's not happening. So I'm trying to wait to see if Temple will give it to us. But I think by the way they're talking, we're going to end up getting vaccinated.
Nice.
Definitely.
It sounds like Temple has its stuff together when it comes to testing and distancing, the quarantine dorms and stuff like that. So they've done a good job, in your opinion?
Yes. We actually have. I just passed the quarantine dorms because when I get tested, you have to pass the quarantine dorms. And so far, I look at the cases every day. We have 105 cases, and there's one girl. She was in my architecture class. I know her personally. She sent me a text message. She says, "So I have COVID right now, and I was wondering if anybody could do my project. I'll pay anybody." So it just really hit home. She said she have corona, and I know her personally. She said it makes me so sleepy. But yeah, that's why I'm like, all right, I want to get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
So I won't get anything.
Well, good luck. And yeah, come see us.
Definitely. Chandler, what? Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
I was just gonna ask Chandler, how's the party life out there?
It's still happening, even though it's not supposed to be happening.
I can sense that.
There's no party life. There's no party life, Chandler. There's no party life.
Especially not for architects.
Rodriguez, there's no party life for Chandler.
There's no party life. They're not supposed to be having parties, but college kids are college kids. It still happens, but I don't go. I hang out with my friends at their apartment, but I don't go to parties because I call them COVID parties because that's what you're going to end up getting.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Corona. So, yeah, me and my roommate, we get along pretty well. She's Black too, from Miami, Florida. So we compare and contrast different things from Brooklyn, New York, and Miami. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey, Chandler, I actually have another question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
So, are you taking any, how many classes do you take, and are any of your classes language classes?
I'm taking 5 classes right now. I have the exact classes. I'm taking college algebra, intellectual heritage, human behavior and the photographic image, visual architects 2, that's my architecture studio class, and photography and visual literacy. Am I missing one more? Yeah, that's it.
Can you tell us a little bit about visual literacy?
Visual literacy is my architecture class. They just call it visual literacy 2 because I took visual literacy 1 last semester, so now I'm in visual literacy 2. I'm taking, to get a break from the architecture, I'm taking the gen ed, which is the photography human behavior class, and then the photography and visual literacy. So I'm learning how to take better pictures. I didn't know so much could go into photography.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I'm learning human behavior as one of the and how we see pictures. Like pictures could be 1,000 words. And intellectual heritage, we're learning about the epic of Gilgamesh. I never heard who he was, but we're learning about that. So from a break from architecture, I'm taking 3 gen eds, and I'm taking my math 1021, which is college algebra, which is kicking my butt right now because we're learning about composition of functions, and I hate math, like I really do. So I have a tutor. I go to office hours with my professor. And yeah, oh, one thing, I wasn't thinking about it. When you're on campus, meet all different types of people. Like I have friends for majors in psychology, legal studies, biology, and we just compare and contrast our lives with each other. And that's how you meet more people at the same time. So yeah.
So does your school, do they offer any like language classes?
Yes, they do, but I'm not taking it. They offer Spanish, Italian, Mandarin, French. And since we have study abroad programs, like I don't know, I think probably like when things get a lot better, probably like my junior year, they have Temple Rome and Temple Japan. So they teach us the languages out there, especially if I want to go to Temple Rome, they're gonna teach us like how to speak the language out there. And they have like another abroad program in Italy. So we have to take an Italian class before we go study abroad in Italy. So, and we learn Mandarin and Japanese here.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to go to study abroad?
I think if I go study abroad, I want to go to Italy because my cousin, the one that I showed in the presentation, she travels all over and she went to Italy and she really loved it. So if I go to anyone, I would go study abroad in Italy. I would like to learn Italian.
And make sure you have a sketch pad.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I will go to Italy.
You know how like you said one of your friends asked to pay someone to do the project? Did he actually do it?
No, I didn't do her project. I barely did I did mine the night before it was due, and she gonna ask me to do the night of. Can somebody do my project for me? I have COVID. If I was in her situation, I would email my professor and ask him for more extension time, not ask somebody to do it for you. But it was like a whole group meeting. Like it was to a bunch of people in the architecture class, and I just read it and I was like, "Is she serious?" But no, I didn't do her project for her.
Such a good friend.
Sabi, you have a question?
Yes. Have you taken a tour around Philly yet?
My friends are trying to get me to go. We have something called Center City, King of Prussia. It's where they have like I guess the outlets and everything you can go to do in the city, like the museums and stuff. But I told myself that I'm not getting on any train or bus until I get vaccinated from COVID. Because I was like, I don't know, when COVID first started happening, I was watching the news and it was like, oh, this is the first time since 18 something that we did a deep clean on these trains. And I was like, I've been taking this train for 4 years. I'm glad I didn't get nothing from just riding the train. So I told myself, I'm not getting on. One of my friends, they drive. So I'm like, if I go anywhere, I probably like might get in a car with them. But I'm still leery about even that. So no, not yet. I just stay local. Whatever I can do by walking, that's exactly what I do. Yeah.
What's close by? What are the things you do close by?
I usually just go with my friends to like get food. Like we have a wing stop, which is off campus, or there's no museums near here. It's all in Center City or King of Prussia. But I mostly just try different foods because we have so many food options down here. But that's what I basically do. Try a whole bunch of different food places. And like I said, I visit my friends that live in my apartment here. So I'll go to their apartments and hang out with them, chill with them for a while. But that's about it. Oh, and we have a lounge in our place. So I go to the lounge and play ping pong, pool, air hockey, foosball. So there's some things to do. you know.
Do you guys cook a lot out there?
Oh my God, I hate cooking. My roommate, she cooked. She made the other day. She made shrimp Alfredo from scratch. I was like, girl, you're better than me. I make my frozen pasta, something that I just throw in and come back and get in 20 minutes. I have a meal plan, so I usually just go out and get food and just mostly do that. But then when it's late at night, because of the whole safety issue, I don't go outside. So I'll just like heat up something really quickly or ask her to cook and I'll eat whatever she makes. But that's about it.
Hey, how important is sketching in your? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rodriguez.
No, I was just gonna follow up with Kodio's cooking lessons. That's all.
Kodio cooks.
Yeah, he does. Like he like picks a like randomly picks the student for like food from their culture, and then and after that he wants like an architecture like overview from that culture also. So far, he made omelet. He was about to make some miso soup, and then I think he's gonna keep doing it until he's still doing it right now.
I mean, on campus.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Kodio.
Oh no, I was saying because of the whole situation. Some of the kids wanted to learn how to cook, as well as we have architecture class. We wanted to do last year in terms of like learning different cultures around the world. At the same time, the architectural structures. So I just combined both of them. So there's gonna be a lot of videos to come of students competing with me. But I think I beat Sean already, and Savi. I beat Sean and Savi.
No, you did not.
How to make an omelet. I have the video. And
he was just bragging on his fancy skillet. That was it.
Savi, you have a video yourself cooking?
We have the video.
I have a picture. I won for sure. He just loaded his plate up with like bread and avocados, and he thought he won.
Okay, but don't worry. The video speaks for itself.
An avocado toast?
No, Savi asking me, "Oh, Mr. Cody, how do I do this? How do I do that?" I said, "Don't worry, I have your back, Savi. I'm here for you."
That's funny. No, I hate cooking, but if you can learn how to cook. I don't like cooking, so I prefer.
Why don't you like cooking, Chandler?
She's spoiled.
You don't want to hear that.
No, that's okay. That's a little true. My mom cooked. My dad doesn't cook. My mom cooked everything in the house. So I was just so used to her cooking, and I never had to cook. So my meals consist of a lot of ramen or going to like Chick-fil-A, Salad Works, a whole bunch of food on campus. That's what I do. I don't like cooking. Yeah.
I was gonna ask, how important is sketching in your design classes?
That's a good question. Last semester we did more sketching since I had to do more hands-on projects. So I would like draw out my plans and different elevations my projects would look like. I didn't have to do a lot of sketching this semester, maybe because we're all virtual and we're learning more of the computer softwares like the Rhino and the Illustrator. So it's not much sketching there. The Rhino does the sketching for you, if that makes sense. Like if you have an idea, you'll put it in Rhino, and you start from there. But sketching is important.
Oh, okay, thank you. Another question I have is, is even in high school, but I feel like in college is where a lot of students are very stressed and they feel overwhelmed. So, like, do you know, like, can you give us any advice on how, when we all go to college, how we could kind of preserve our mental health and sanity?
Oh, definitely. That's important. Because first semester I wanted to like throw my computer out the window and all these different types of stuff. But I would just say take it one day at a time. If you're frustrated with something, like yesterday, I was working on one assignment for like 5 hours since 2:00 in the afternoon, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. This is math again. So I took a step back. I joined the temple yoga club. So I did yoga. That relaxed me. I went out to watch some TV. That relaxed me. And then I just came back to it and I looked at things a little bit differently. So I would say just take a step back, do something that you enjoy. That's not your assignment or work related. Even just go speak it to some friends, FaceTime, and just do something fun and then come back to it. And I promise you things will be a lot different. You'll have a clear headspace and you wouldn't want to throw your computer out the window. So that's what I would say.
Thank you for that. Myra Gomez had posted a question in the chat. So if Myra, if you could read a lot of the question, that would be great.
Sure.
Yeah. I went on a tour of Temple like about a year ago. Does Temple still offer like any work study now during COVID?
My friend, she was actually doing work study. They still do, but I haven't did any work study because I just feel like I don't have time for it right now. But they still do. It's, most of them are virtual, but then they have some study programs that are in person. So it just depends on what you're looking for. But yes, they still do have it.
Chandler, what's your background?
Okay, I can't really hear. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, sure. I was saying, like, what's your family background?
Oh, like in terms of like my race and ethnicity.
Yeah.
Um, mm, um, my mom and dad, they're both African American. They're both black too. It's really hard for me to explain. But my grandparents are from like North and South Carolina. Um, so I would just say like African American. Yeah. Me and Mr.
So
Kevin always talk about questions like this. Remember last? I had trouble. Like I still have trouble like identifying like my background, but I just say I'm black. You know, African American, correct terms. But yeah.
So when you got accepted to like all those schools, like their reaction was like all like mostly positive, right?
Oh, can you repeat that one more time? I can't hear.
When you like decided to go to Temple, I'd say like their reaction was mostly positive.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, there was this one thing my roommate was telling me because I stay on top of things, but not everything. There was this thing that happened with like, there was this one black kid who was staying at Morgan, which is one of the most expensive dorms you can stay on campus. And he was the only black guy on the floor. And there was a whole bunch of like white kids who just put like some racial slurs on his like door and called him like monkey and stuff. But that was the worst thing I've like heard. But nothing like that has happened to me, like thank God. But it's definitely different because it's a PWI, but it's still diverse at the same time. So I see on campus like a lot of people, like some of my friends, like Brooklyn, like being at Wasat is a lot of like African American and Spanish. There wasn't like a whole like a lot of different types of cultures and different backgrounds like it is out here. So being in college, I made like my first white friend, you know, my first like African friend, just different types of cultures. I would say is very diverse. So I'm meeting a lot of different types of people. And if they are black, they're from different places of the world. You know, like my roommate, she's black, but she's from Miami and I've never been to Miami. So I'm meeting new people and my friend's roommate who's white, his roommate is African. So I'm just meeting so many different types of people and learning a lot of different cultures. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Chandler, what are you looking forward to over the next couple of years at Temple?
I'm looking forward to picking my major, which I have to declare in sophomore year. I'm looking to meet more people. Um, and I think I want to live out here, just a different part, not this side of Philly, but I'm thinking about moving to Pennsylvania full time. Senior year, I was thinking about looking for apartments on the other side of Philly. Um, to move to permanently. Like you see the whole lot coming from Canarsie, Brooklyn, New York. It's a totally different world. Like I said, I was sheltered. So to be out here with new people, new faces, and just being, my parents aren't out here. So I'm pretty much like on my own, you know? It just gave me like a sense of being responsible and learning how to live on your own at 18, which was a good experience, you know? So I'm definitely looking forward to just pursuing architecture and moving out here.
Amazing. So maybe this is a good follow-up question. I don't know if you answered this, but Myra had asked, does Temple offer any work study now during COVID?
Yes,
is that a thing?
yeah, they do. They do.
Okay.
Some of them are virtual, some of them in person, but it just depends on what you want to do. But they have work study.
Were there any similarities that you found like between Wasat, like your experience at Wasat and your current experience at Temple?
Definitely. The professors and the teachers at Wasat, the teachers at Wasat, they're always on you. Codio, Castner, Sergey, they want the best for you. And that's the same model they have at Temple. They want the best for you. They don't just want to take your money and leave you to stay astray. They just want the best for you. And my teachers, even how they say college teachers don't know your name. Like my professors all know me by name. They know me by face, which is really a cool thing, even though it's 28,000 undergrads, that's a lot of kids. But all my professors know who I am. They know what type of work I do. They know my work ethic. They know my struggles. They know my challenges. They just know everything about Chandler, which is good.
Hey, Chandler.
Yeah.
I know that Myra asked about work study, but can you speak to scholarships and applying to scholarships? How much financial aid did you investigate, and how much work did you put in trying to make the cost of a college education more reasonable?
Yes, definitely applied to every single scholarship. So I had my parents on board. They were like the rock of everything. So my mom was doing college applications and helping me fill out all the colleges I wanted to go to, paying the fees, doing everything. And my dad was in charge of scholarships. So while my mom was doing applications, my dad was doing scholarships, and I was doing both. So I was filling out the scholarships, and my mom was helping me fill out applications. And don't let money be the reason why don't you do better and go to college. Don't let that be a back burner, but don't let that be the main focus not to go to college. Like there's so many options. Like I didn't get anything from FAFSA because my parents, so I wasn't qualified to get anything from FAFSA, but that didn't stop my parents. They went out. I ended up getting a Delta scholarship because my cousin's a Delta, so I applied and I wrote an essay, and they liked my essay, and they gave me $4,000, so $2,000 per semester. So I got money coming from there, and then going to ACE, which I emphasize is a great program. I ended up going to ACE, right, for 4 years straight. I started freshman year, and Cody was like, oh, do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And I ended up doing it for 4 years. And at the end, they gave me $14,000 to come. They ended up giving me,
Beautiful.
I think it was 12. But then, I don't know, I forgot their names. It was Miss Sarah. And they really liked who I was because I've been going consistently for 4 years, and they knew who I was. So they called me back, and it was like, we're just going to give you some more. So they gave me a total of 14,000, which broke up, my financial. So now my parents aren't paying. They're paying some, but they're not paying the full how much it was originally to come because I'm an out-of-state student. So of course it's going to be more. So apply to scholarships. Anything. If it's like 500 here, 2,000 there, just do it. It all adds up, and you end up getting money. So just fill out scholarships.
Chandler, I'm glad you mentioned ACE. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with ACE over the 4 years that you were part of it? And again, you were also working with Gensler, correct?
Yes.
For the whole time.
Yeah, I was working at Gensler for 4 years. It was great because one of the mentors, I don't know if you know who she is, Mr. Rodriguez, her name was Miss Alice, and we're still connected to this day. And she gives me even if they give you financial, they give you experience. So she told me, when you finish Temple, we're going to grab you up. And that was the only thing my mother heard.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
that was the only thing I heard at the final presentation, that they're going to give me a job after I graduate from college. So I would say, please go to ACE. It was every once a week, Wednesdays, and I've never missed a Wednesday. I was like, I don't really want to go to ACE because it was in Manhattan. And then I go, just push yourself, and you get the experience of working at an architecture firm like Gensler. It's one of the top architecture firms in the country, So you get
in the world, actually.
In the world. Yep. So you get experience there. You can add to your resume. You get financial because they give you financial aid. At the end, I end up getting 14,000 from them. So please go to ACE. They want to help you.
Chandler, can I ask you a favor?
Sure.
Can you write about the importance of attending ACE? We're doing an updated ACE piece story. We haven't done a story on ACE for a couple years now. I was noticing as I was looking through the website, and we want to do a more recent piece about ACE. And I think what you're saying is so important the consistency of attending the program for 4 years, cultivating those types of relationships and networking. And then the payoff is, the payoff is the learning and the relationships you form, but in a more concrete sense, the payoff is the scholarship as well. So, just if you could, write a couple of paragraphs about how valuable ACE was, and we'll put that alongside with some of the pieces our current students who are enrolled in ACE are going to write.
Yeah, network. That's the word I was looking for. Networking. Like the two people, Miss Alice and Sarah, was the coordinator for ACE. So she sent me.
Yes, I remember Sarah.
Yes, Sarah sent me a text message. She asked me how I'm doing here, and she said, after you finish graduating, we got a position for you. So just being nice to people really goes a long way. Just saying hi every Wednesday and presenting in front of them. She knows who I am, and now she wants to give me a job when I graduate. So it's all about networking and just being nice to people, because you never know. You never know.
Very good. So do you think they have an office in Pennsylvania?
They do, because the lady, her
Nice.
name is Diane, and it's I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she's not too far from Temple, and she sent me an email as well, and she told me, like, I'm right here, and if you need anything, and she's like the coordinator. I read her little description card. She's like the founder for something, and she wants to give me a job as well. So I have like 3 different possible job opportunities when I graduate, which is really cool.
Or internship opportunities.
Or internship
Right?
opportunities. Yeah. Yeah.
So, is there any extra curriculars at Temple? And if so, are you a part of any?
Like I said, one extracurricular activity I'm a part of right now is yoga club. It might sound boring, but yoga is actually amazing if you're a college student.
Oh, I love yoga.
Me too. I invested in a mat. I don't know if you can see it behind me. I invested in a yoga mat, some yoga outfits, everything. It's a D1 school, so they have football, basketball, anything you can name of, golf. They have like any sport you could think of. They also have sororities if you want to join a sorority. My cousin wants me to be a Delta, so she's trying to get me to be a Delta. They have anything like extracurricular. If you want to do it, I'm quite sure they have a team for it. Like the basketball team stays at my place, so you see them from time to time. They live on our floor.
How's the golf game going, Chandler?
I haven't played since quarantine, but once it lifted, I'm gonna try to join the golf team at Temple because they have one here. So I want to do it.
That's cool. Yeah.
So you haven't been practicing at all?
No, and I outgrew my club, so I have to buy more clubs. So yeah, but I'm definitely gonna play here. So I'm waiting until things get better because I don't know if that's open right now, and it's not the season for it yet. So, but I know the season right now, we have a lacrosse team. So I see the lacrosse team, the girls, all the teams, because they all walk together. They never like interact. They walk in like a little clan. All the girls from the lacrosse team, all the girls from the soccer team, and they walk together. So they still playing. And the field is actually right across the street from my house. So, yeah.
What type of yoga do you do?
What's the name? I don't know the names for it, but it's more like a relaxing yoga. So we do like a lot of child's pose, cat cows, and warrior poses. I'm quite sure you heard of those names, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like every Monday, and we're doing like, I don't know how to pronounce it, so it's gonna sound really bad. The Bhagavad Gita series, the Wisdom series. So I had to buy the book, and I'm reading the book for that. So yeah, that's the only club I joined so far, the yoga club.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How does the college breaks work? Like, are they different from high schoolers, or not really
Can you say
different?
that a little bit louder? I'm sorry.
How does how does the college breaks work?
Um, Well, we were supposed to have a break for the spring break, which started in like March, April, but they canceled all spring breaks for college because of COVID. So right now, all I have is wellness days, which is like days there's no classes taking place, and that for me that's February 23rd and March 24th. But this year there's no spring break because of COVID. But it's different from high school. The breaks are a lot longer. Like last semester, I was on break from November, the day 2 days before Thanksgiving. I was home all the way until January 19th. So you get long breaks for college. Like you get like a month and a half, 2 months. So all of that time I was back in Brooklyn at home. So you get breaks and they be long breaks too. So
Okay, thank you.
of course.
I have another question.
Yep.
How engaged are you with the teachers after class is over?
Me, I'm always at my teacher's office hours, especially for math. She's like, "Okay, Chandler, I know you're back, but I have to kind of go feed my kids right now." And I'm
Okay.
like, I'm always in every like, especially for a class I know I'm struggling with, like math. I hate math. I'm always at her office hours, and it's like 2 hours long. So I'm just there every Tuesday and Thursday at her office hours, just doing math. You know, of
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
course.
All right. So, does anyone else have any questions for Chandler?
Wait, I have one more. Sorry.
No, you good. Ask me questions.
Can you explain how like the dorming works?
Can you like go a little detail like that?
Like, are you picking someone or not, or do you have like rules and regulations, or do
Oh,
they change like every semester or every year?
okay. I don't want to feel like I'm talking too much, but yes, we do. Um, we have so there's like so many different types of dorms on campus. So you have communal style, but because of COVID, everybody is mostly in apartment style. So everybody has their own room, and some people have to share a bathroom with their roommate. But I don't have to share a bathroom with my roommate because I picked the space where everything is to me, but I just have to share the communal space. And you get to, if you want, you could pick your roommate beforehand. Y'all come to campus, but that was a whole process. I just feel like if I end up with somebody, I end up with somebody. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So I end up with a roommate, and me and my roommate actually have the same major. We have the same architecture class. We have the same major. I said we have the same architecture period. So I told her one day she just come in my room and be like, "Hi" to the professor because we have the same class and everything. But because of COVID, we do have rules. You're not allowed to bring. So I have friends that live in this building, but I can't. I have some friends that live also in a different building on campus, but they can't come into my space because they're trying to minimize the spread of COVID. So if you have people that live in your building, you can hang out with them, but you can't bring somebody from the outside in, if that makes sense, because of COVID. But if there wasn't COVID, you're able to bring people in, go out. So dorming is pretty fun. You meet a lot of people just by like walking out and be like, "Hey, you live here?" Okay, you make a friend. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's it for everything today. Thank you for coming today. As Kessler said, feel free to come back to visit when school reopens. Pretty sure they would love to see you.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. You know, Wasat is always home. Wasat is family for life. Yeah.
Thank
Got
you
the
so
Wasat
much,
ring.
Chandler. What?
What? I still got the ring. The Wasat senior class ring.
Nice.
Alright, if you have any problem, don't be afraid to reach out to Rodriguez, Kessler, and Cordia.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. It was great to see all you guys.
Definitely, Chandler.
Nice seeing you.
It's a pleasure always.
Yes, try to make the most out of the situation. Everything happens for a reason. Just look at it like that.
Yes.
All right. Yep. All
Awesome.
right, bye.
See ya.
See you,
Thank
Chandler.
you so much. Bye.
Have a good one,
Of course,
Chandler.
bye.
Thank you so much.
All right.